We're back.
Hot take.
We got to do no hot takes. Well, we're going to have a lot of hot takes today. First, we got to set the timer. We got to run. We got Adam back. How was Pinehurst?
Pinehurst is great. No skull fractures. A lot of fun.
No staples, no hospital bills.
Just a lot of credit card debt.
Hey, no worries about that. We got a cure for that. I think we have an episode about HELOCs and cash flow. We can talk to you about that.
What do we got today?
March rate madness.
It is rate madness.
So we got brackets, we got rates, we got some grids, we got all kinds of stuff we need to talk about here. But biggest thing is everyone thought rates were going down in January into February, right?
And
First round upset. It feels like a 16 over a 1 right now.
Yeah.
I don't think people got tricked maybe as much as we didn't anticipate this Iran situation. Got to figure out how to navigate that. But
so what happened? Explain to me like I'm just a new buyer. I'm looking for houses and I'm thinking the rates are going to go down.
So I think the biggest part of that is we probably had a conversation maybe in January, early February. We said, hey, rates are starting to trend down. We're starting to see some relief in some higher level inflation numbers. And then
it did for a minute, right?
Oh, yeah. We were starting to see rates. They were really, really trying to break through that 6% floor.
Yeah.
And there's, a lot of theories. I went to Mexico, or we decided that we are going to invade a country.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't just random.
It was not random, no. And what has gone on here, the biggest point of this is oil prices have spiked substantially.
Because the Strait of whatever that thing is.
Strait of Hormuz, yeah. And we have oil prices spiking. That means that production supply chain goes way up, costs go way up.
Yep.
Right. And now inflation's back.
Because the cost to bring the goods here goes up, and that means everything goes up.
Exactly.
And your spending value goes down. So
yeah, it's a
double threat.
A messy situation there. It's kind of like the 16 over the 1 seed, right? We don't know what exactly, how it all happened or why it all. Well, we could probably talk about that. We won't talk about why it all happened, but the other part of this now, right, is because of the shift in oil prices, because of the long-term damage to liquid natural gas production facilities in the Middle East and all of this, the market is now not pricing in Fed funds rate cuts. And I know that we've talked ad nauseum here about, mortgage rates don't necessarily follow the Fed funds rate, but all of everything else in the world kind of bases, it's a direction, right?
Yeah, they're trying to predict the future of where the market's going.
Yeah, and when we've talked frequently about, Fed funds rate, and for up until this situation started, we were talking about maybe 2 cuts this year. And before we hopped on, you and I just discussed this. We're not seeing a chance of a cut now until July of 2027.
Oh my goodness.
Like a probable one. So we have this chart up right now. The blue column, right now is where we're at. We actually see some little chances of a hike potentially.
That would be, what would that do?
It would hopefully cool off inflation, which we can't really, bet on that, but it would likely cause a little bit of a seizure in the market.
Okay, so which means if someone's really got to move their house, they got to lower their price.
They can lower their price, or we can talk about this other strategy today here.
Let's hear it.
New strategy. Yeah. This is not a new strategy. We've actually talked about this one before when rates were a little bit elevated. It's called a 2-1 temporary buy down, or there's variations of it. There's a 3-2-1, there's a 2-1, a 1-1, all of these other ones. But what it is instead of cutting the price, Adam, we can request that the seller pays the difference in interest for the first 2 years or the first year of your home ownership.
Okay.
So let's just say today, I always say talking about interest rates without all of the disclaimers, but we'll go through it.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, 740, all of that stuff. And your rate you're quoted from your mortgage person today is a 6.5%. Okay. We can have a conversation, or that your agent can help you present an offer to the seller where we request a seller paid closing cost credit.
Okay.
And then we use that credit to fund the difference of interest and make that rate, although it's a 6.5, it's not an adjustable rate, but the first year it would feel like you're paying 4.5%.
Okay. And how does that help the seller? Because they sell a house they might not have?
Exactly. That's, your house is sitting, right? Buyers are maybe a little bit nervous. Sellers could be apprehensive too. They're in a spot where they need to force the sale. They have some other timing event going on.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost nearly as much as what people think, right? So we pull up a $350,000 house and assume a buyer is putting 5% down, right? The cost of this is 2.16% of the sale price of the home there.
Okay.
So you're essentially selling your house at a 98% net.
And if I would have just lowered the price, how does that affect the buyer?
For every $5,000 less borrowed, your payment down by about $35.
Okay.
So
this way more effective.
Correct. I mean, so in this case, right, this cost is $7,568 to the seller, right?
Okay.
The first month of savings for the buyer is the first year, I'm sorry, is $417 a month.
Oh,
the second year is $213 a month.
Okay.
It is a strategy that, like, it was really, really popular for a while. It went away. It came back when rates were in the high sevens. Well, now we're back into a situation here where rates are climbing up. I didn't even climb, but they're going up, right? And the difference is rates will go up on an elevator, they'll come down on an escalator.
Makes
right?
sense.
So go up fast, come down slow.
And if it comes down and we do this, like in a year, then what?
Well, you can refinance at any point during this. There's no prepayment penalty. There's nothing weird about this.
Cool.
That interest just sits in an escrow, like essentially an escrow account, right?
So everybody wins if you do this.
If you need to sell your house,
yeah,
the idea of just cutting the price maybe isn't the best situation, because I will tell you, 90% of my conversations with buyers are all about payment,
monthly payment.
Yeah. And so here we can the seller can help the buyer buy themselves time to navigate the interest rate situation.
This might be a Tony Minadero question, but can someone advertise that this is a thing on?
That is a good question. I'm sure I've seen advertisements on it. I'm sure that there's probably they're probably not correctly asterisked like this one is right here. But
like in the listing, I could put it's 2-1 buy down.
Yeah, sellers interested in funding, or sellers willing to fund 2-1 buy down. There's all kinds of little things that you can do, or right, a strong buyer's agent can just put that out initially in the buyer's offer, right? Hey, we're requesting this seller paid closing cost credit so that the buyer, right, will receive this 2-1. Or you can do, there's other ones, right? So we displayed the 2-1, which would be if your start rate's 6.5 or your real rate's 6.5. Year one, it feels like 4.5. Year two feels like 5.5. There's also a 3-2-1. So over 3 years, it goes down 3. So a 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. There's a 1-1, which would be a 5.5, a 5.5, and then it feels back up to the 6. So there's a lot of different ways to do this.
Cool.
So if payment sensitivity or interest rate sensitivity is the barrier to you wanting to make a move in today's market, there's tools that we can use to get around that.
Yeah.
You just have to use a good agent. You got to talk to great people. We have great people on here all of the time to execute the strategy.
There's always a way. There's always a way to figure it out.
Well, I mean, it's no different than anything else in the world, right? Like there's as soon as the oil stops, the timer goes off. But people will get creative in trying to design other products to make it work.
Cool.
Anything else going on in the insurance world?
Same old craziness. I don't know if you guys saw those storms a couple weeks ago, but
there were some storms.
It's already happening. So just make sure you got the right coverage, especially for your roof, because the hail's coming out. The hail is like softballs.
I believe I saw in Kankakee they may have actually had United States record
world record, like 4.5 inches or something.
That's like a cannonball that's coming through your roof.
We didn't even, the insurance companies didn't even have to inspect. They just took satellite pictures and said, here's your money.
And that's and it's pretty wild, but we can't stress enough, right? That quality coverage and an agent that is present and local is much better than dealing with these call centers. I believe State Farm maybe actually set up a facility in the Kankakee County.
Yeah, we had a couple, so people could get answers, because there's 25,000 plus claims, which is nuts. So listen, it's March Madness. It's still going on. What do we got? 2 more weeks? One more?
Two, right? I think we got the 16 and the Elite 8 here.
Who do you got?
I love St. John's right now. I don't know
really?
about you. Yeah.
I just want one of the Michigan teams to win. I don't even care which one.
Michigan State. Don't matter. Tom Izzo. Well, we got a Joliet local there on the Michigan State.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's also known as the dirtiest player in the NCAA.
Okay, I like him now.
All right, perfect. Yeah, all right, anything else?
No, peace out. You know where to find us.
I'm done. Cut the show.